gentlemen, if that doesn't get your heart pumping, I don't know what will. Thank Dr. Westbrook and all of our students. You know, on this occasion, this is normally the time that I take a fair amount of time, actually, to talk about the state of the university. The good news for you this year is I'm not going to take that much time because we are privileged, we are honored to have with us the Chancellor of the Texas A&M system, Chancellor John Sharp. After Chancellor Sharp's remarks, I will come back up and I will make some comments because we've gone through some significant activities here leading to the development of our strategic plan, and so we do want to at least spend a little bit of time talking about this. Well, this is Chancellor Sharp's third year, just entering his third year, leading the 19 members of the Texas A&M University system. For some of you that are new to the system, we have 7 agencies, 11 universities, and a health science center. It is a comprehensive system, one of the largest and best in the world. He's a graduate of Texas A&M University, and so he understands the Aggiisms as well as any. He was a very active student leader, a member of the Corps, which, as those of you associated with the system for some time know, a very significant activity. And his leadership showed at a very early age, since he was the president of the student body at Texas A&M University. He has a distinguished, and I mean distinguished, record of public service, including a stint with the U.S. Army Reserves. He was elected to the Texas House of Representatives, the Texas Senate, and elected as the Texas State Controller. Chancellor Sharp brings to the system experience as a small business owner, as an elected official, and he has a tremendous reputation across the state, and I'd say across the country, making government work with efficiency, quality, and first-rate service to all. Chancellor Sharp, we want you to know how much we deeply appreciate you being here for this special day for us, and how much we appreciate the leadership you are providing to the Texas A&M system. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Chancellor, John Sharp.
Howdy. It is my pleasure to be here. I asked Dominic a couple of weeks ago, I said, Dominic, what do you want me to talk about? And he said, I want you to talk about 5 minutes. And so I get that. And so I'm going to give you an Aggie speech, which by definition is short and to the point, as opposed to Longhorn speech, which has point here, mostly bull in between. I feel a bit cheated that I did not have a purple tie. I went all through my 6 ties, and I couldn't find a purple one. And my wife comes in and she says, I have something purple, and she has purple pantyhose, which we're going to have a later discussion this evening about that. And so for 2 or 3 minutes, I actually tried to fashion a little ascot or something, and unfortunately gave up on that deal. But purple has become one of my favorite colors. I love these poo kids. We get in interesting discussions when I tell people at different universities, you've got to come with me to Stephenville and see my poo, and they do not understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, and so I wrote this speech, and in it says all of the wonderful things I could think of that have happened at Tarleton, this great university, for over the last year or so. And then I learned that everybody in this room is going to know every one of these things before I get here. And then Dominic is going to come in and say all of those things again. And for instance, you know about the strategic plan, which I was going to talk about. You know about your enrollment that goes to 11,000. And by the way, enrollment doesn't grow like that just for the fun of it, just because the Texas population is growing, just because everybody in Stephenville decides they want to come to Tarleton. It grows like that because there is a staff and there is a faculty and there is leadership at this university that people of Texas, their parents and kids want to be a part of. This full-service great university that was the very first ever to join the Texas A&M University system. It is the prettiest among us. of all 11 universities, and every one of the other 11 universities know that. And there are just so many things here that go right. One thing that didn't go right was me giving this speech. And so I want to talk to you about why we're all here. We are amongst the most powerful economic development tool on planet Earth, and certainly the most powerful economic development people in the state of Texas are in this room. And I want to tell you why. Because the whole future powerhouse of Texas depends on what you do. Long before any of us were born, in the early history of Texas, we had built this empire. And we built it on something called cattle. And we had more cattle, and when the Civil War ended, the United States Army decided that they liked the taste of beef. And so people all over Texas, including here, rounded up these cattle, wild cattle from Mexico that had roamed all over this place for decades and maybe half a century, and shipped them, and it created an unbelievable economic empire. One of the first empires ever in this country that generated wealth beyond the scope of imagination of people all across the United States. That was the first empire. The second empire was something called cotton. You think Mississippi had cotton? We had cotton in 2 or 3 times the quantities that they had. The last battle of the Civil War was fought 2 months after the Civil War had ended over 26 bales of cotton in Brownsville, and who would get to ship them to United Kingdom. And cotton created these unbelievable empires in Texas, as it did in many places in the South. And then the third empire, economic empire, happened. And that started in 1901. Started with a place called Spindletop, and then expanded to a place called Corsicana. And all of a sudden we had this huge wealth in oil and gas that continues today. In fact, all of these continue today. But when oil and gas and petrochemicals came to Texas, that's when they put the bumper stickers up in New England saying, Texans, go home. We countered with Yankees freeze in the dark. There were bumper stickers in Colorado that said things like, if God wanted Texans to ski, he'd have given them a mountain. We countered with, we had a mountain, we wanted it San Jacinto, we didn't like it, we gave it back to you. But it was really the largest and most unbelievable empire that we've ever produced. Well, I had an old economics professor when I was at A&M that was pretty smart. And I think all economics professors will say the same thing. And that is that you only have 2 things to sell in this old world. You sell natural resources, or you sell human resources, and perhaps combinations of the two. And then you have capital resources, but that's buildings and stuff, and that is dependent upon the first 2. We have built this whole state on one of those things, and that's natural resources. Unless we find a use for mesquite wood that is not readily apparent to your folks right now, there will not be a 4th empire on natural resources. But the next one is going to be about the only other thing we have to sell, and that is human resources. And so how is Texas positioned for human resources? When I was controller of public accounts, when Dow Chemical thought about expanding, when IBM decided to come into Texas, when TI wanted to move to North Dallas, and all of those kinds of things were going on, they never came to me as they did my predecessor, Bob Bullock, in the 80s. They never came to me and asked about tax rates. They would always ask Bullock, what's the tax rates, what's the property taxes and all this stuff. When they came to me thinking about moving to Texas, they only asked 2 questions. They said, how many 18 to 21-year-olds live in this town that we're thinking about putting this plant in, or this lab, or whatever it was? And we answered that question very well, ladies and gentlemen, because we produce more 18 to 21-year-olds than any place in the United States except Provo, Utah. And all you have to do is think a little bit about Provo, Utah, 8 kids per Mormon family, and you'll see why they produce a lot of 18 to 21-year-olds. But we are barely behind them. If you take a map of the United States and you want to find the place that produces more young people because of the love in our families. It is the state of Texas. Nobody literally is in the same ballpark with us. It's an unimaginable gift that we have. Hopefully gift. Because the second question they ask is, tell me the education level of those kids. And if we tell them that the education of those kids is similar to Mississippi, no offense to anybody from there, or similar to other places, that it is low, that we have not many college graduates, that we don't have very many high school graduates and stuff like that, then they don't come. Because what this new world needs, and will need for the rest of the lives of everybody in this room and these young men and women that you're graduating, is you have to have lots of very smart young men and women and well-educated to produce what we need to produce. And so the truth of the matter is economic development is higher education. It is not just higher education. It is public school education. It is charter school education. It is the first grader. That little spindle top sitting in your first grade class is going to determine your future, whether you have kids or not. If you're the richest person in this room, if you're the wealthiest person in Stephenville, the richest woman in Texas, whether your grandkids stay that way is going to depend on how the people in this room treat that first grader all the way through Tarleton State University. That's it. That is the future of economic power of the state of Texas. You can have your Chamber of Commerce, you can have all the economic development commissions that you want, and they perform good work, but if it doesn't happen here, the economy of Texas goes in the tank, because if we are the state that has the largest number of 18 to 21-year-olds than any state in the nation, percentage-wise, real number-wise, any way you want to look at it, and those kids are poorly educated, you plunge to the depths, to the bottom in economic development of what this country is about. Because all of a sudden they become a huge liability to the state of Texas. It is the Tarleton State Universities. It is the professors and the teachers and the staff members and the folks that make sure the buildings are in good shape, and that this one is renovated, and all of those kinds of things to provide the kind of environment for these young people. That is what drives the future economy of the state of Texas. And if we do this right, we have such advantages that we are going to produce an economy, a fourth empire of the state of Texas, that will make cattle and cotton and oil and gas and petrochemicals look like a barn dance in comparison. It is that huge of an advantage that we have because of our ability of Texans to produce youngsters and the ability of institutions like this to make sure they're the finest in the world. So thank you. It is good to be here at this convention of economic developers in Stephenville, Texas. And it is especially good to be here at Tarleton, the place that was the first regional university to join the system at Texas A&M, to participate in all of the things, and the most beautiful university, bar none, including College Station, in the system. And I got to tell you, I like those people. I want to find out who they are. I know there are 4 people here that know who they are. I want to know who they are. I want to know who they are. Now let me tell you something you don't know. You have a great president, but God, does he whine? I don't have a president that begs for money like Dottavio. True story. My secretary does not announce to me that Dr. Dottavio is coming to me. He says, Dr. Dottavio is coming to ask for money again today. And we always say yes whenever we can. He's a great guy, great friend, and great president for this university. And I want you to know how proud the whole system is to have such a wonderful university as Tarleton State University within our system. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't know that was my reputation down south. You want to know what he was really going to say? There it is. Chancellor, thank you so much for being here today. You truly do honor us by your presence. I would tell you that the message is so important for all of us to hear about the new frontier out there, the importance of what it is that all of you do every day to shape lives for our students, because it is indeed such a meaningful occupation. And often we get so rushed and so hurried to do all the things we have to do to get these folks moving in the right direction. To understand it from that kind of perspective is really a powerful message, so thank you for that. I'm glad you didn't wear the pantyhose today, but I want you to know, because of our good friend Darryl Brown, I do have great purple socks on. Rusty, can you put yours up like that too? Look at that, Rusty, that's it. Terrific purple socks, so we can get you those. And a good time. One of the other things I want you to know about the Chancellor, I had the opportunity to go through the first legislative session with him. And this guy is a rock star in Austin. And when he walks in the room, it's kind of like E.F. Hutton. And what happened for the Texas A&M University system, because of how highly he was regarded across the state of Texas and on the Capitol, is absolutely remarkable. And in reference to the Longhorns, if you look at how it is that we stacked up against the Longhorns in terms of state funding, largely because of the leadership of your Chancellor, we did extraordinarily well this year. And so we want to thank you for that. For Tarleton, we ended up, because of the kind of message he could bring to the state capitol, we ended up with one of the highest percentage increases across the state in our funding. And what that converted to for us, I think you all understand, are things like we are in the process of bringing in and hiring about 70 new faculty members. We have the opportunity to do salary and merit increases for all of you. That is going to be among the very highest, we believe, in the state, possibly second to none. And that is, again, a direct result of the important work that your Chancellor is doing. And the reference to whining for funds, let me tell you, he released permanent university funds that is responsible for things like what's going on at the Grant Building, what's going on in this building, the renovation of the Alumni Island and some of our streets, and some of what we're going to be doing out at the farm with our ag building. So those are all important things that came from the leadership of Chancellor John Sharp. So thank you so much for providing that and for the leadership that you provided to us. Again, thank you. I'm going to spend a little bit of time to talk to you a little bit about the strategic plan, and let me put it in the context of saying how excited I think we all should be because of the many great things that are happening here at Tarleton. We said that we have the largest incoming class in our history, but you need to understand this, because it's not just about large numbers, but it's also the most academically talented, and I think, based on what I've seen, the most spirited class that we've ever seen. And we have a plan over the next 5 years, and it's important to understand this, a plan over the next 5 years to continue to increase the academic profile of students coming into this university. We made substantial progress in the last couple of years, still increased enrollment, but we're going to keep raising that academic profile. You see some great faculty researchers up here. Dr. Ali Soleil is part of a $10 million grant with several other universities to look at beef and cattle production and the impact of climate change. T. Wayne Schwartner, he's dealing with food security and hunger issues working in Africa. We have award-winning and innovative faculty like Linda Schultz up here, who won one of 10 Piper Awards in the state of Texas, given to the most distinguished faculty in the state of Texas. And Linda, as I think most of you know, a professor of chemistry, she received that for excellence in teaching, research, and service. You have Kayla Peak, who was the Outstanding Physical Educator of the Year. Dan Marble is up here. He almost single-handedly took physics programs that were being abandoned by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board and put together a consortium of 7 universities, and he's leading that to make sure physics education is still provided to students across the state of Texas, all the way from the Panhandle to the border and out to the eastern part of the state. Dan Marble helped us do that. It also was a banner year for giving. You know, the last 2 years, we received the largest and the second largest gift in our history. You all know Lamar and Marilyn Johansson, former dean, that gave us $5 million worth of property. I'm particularly energized this year because so many of you were involved in the strategic plan and the development of a new vision for the university to become the premier student-focused university, I would say in Texas and beyond, and to use the Chancellor's word, he talks about on the planet. So we can change that to, Tarleton will be the premier student-focused university on the planet. That would fit very well with the Chancellor's vision of where he thinks we need to be. Our aspirations are very high because of what's in the strategic plan, and it's because, again, of what the Chancellor said. We're here to help transform lives of our students and transform generations of students, because we have so many first-generation students at Tarleton. By changing one life in a generation, we're changing multiple generations, and we are an important economic driver for this region, and I think for the state. You know, the development of the plan started about 19 months ago, and it required considerable effort by a lot of you. It started in January 2012. Donna Savage, Javier Garza, are you here? I think I saw both of you today. Why don't you stand, because you, the UPC, the Council of Chairs, thank you for your leadership. The plan presents 4 strategic goals, and I'm not going to go through the details of the plan, but I want to reemphasize these because these are our guideposts about where we're headed. They talk about academic innovation, student transformation, distinctive engagement, and exemplary service. Now, you need to understand those goals are just the beginning of what it is that comes later. They start to line up the big blocks of what it is that we need to accomplish. When we talk about academic innovation, it's something that we truly believe, you do believe, because you've identified this, is required for any 21st century university. The economy, globalization, and the digital world in which we live, they've brought changes to institutions like us in a powerful way. We're all living with those changes every day. But it falls to us to manage those external changes and to initiate change in our instructional delivery and the learning environment in order to promote student success, to make the kind of impact that we should make as a university. It's important also for you to understand that there are a lot of pockets of innovation already taking place. So while this is a goal of the university, we need to understand on all these goals, we're not starting from scratch. For example, the Center for Instructional Innovation. Shout out to Kelly Schaefer. Go to her open house today and see what these folks are doing after the General Assembly. There's some tremendous work going on there in a great new space. The College Forward program, the Mental Freedom program, the Dominican Republic Service Project that Jennifer Edwards and Lori Helvey Mason have put together for what are called FLU students, first generation, low income, underrepresented. Those are powerful change agents, powerful ways to demonstrate academic innovation to our students. Dick Smith Library, again, Donna, thank you for your leadership in getting rid of the books on the first floor of the library. What a radical concept, huh? And Rusty, thank you for your leadership in bringing Sodexo in as a partner to give a very significant contribution to make that renovation possible. Then Brian Wyatt up there, what a great, great faculty member. If you have not been with him to see his talk about the moon, you need to do that. You talk about the best on the planet. This guy is really something. And what he's doing is he's modeling, unlike any other faculty, any other researcher in the country, how it is that the moon was formed, and demonstrating in a powerful way with with the great graphics, what it is on how it is that the moon was formed. It's a presentation well worth seeing. Student transformation is our second goal, and that focuses on the three things we've talked about in student success: academic achievement, meaningful engagement, personal growth for our students. We want our students to be successful. That's what this is about. But not only here at Tarleton, but we want them to make the conversion and be successful in life as well. Our intent needs to be to prepare students to become leaders, change agents in an ever-changing world, and to go out of here able to lead a life of purpose with distinction. And again, we've got some great things already going on. You know, our aeronautical team, what we first refer to affectionately as our rocket boys. What a great example of how students' lives have been transformed. These students came together from a multiple array of different disciplines and spent an incredible amount of hours competing with places like MIT, Caltech, and Georgia Tech and the like. And they did a smackdown on all those big universities in a powerful way. They were the rookie team of the year this year and won the biggest competition that was out there at the NASA competition. And this was, by all accounts, just a group of students that by initiative and because of the great leadership of Bo Browner and Bryant Wyatt came together and demonstrated to the world what you can do in terms of transforming students' lives. All of you helped to revamp our approach to the first year experience. I mean, we've taken apart what it is that orientation, duck camp, Texan camp, transition week is about. We put in place a new first year seminar for our students. We've revamped our residential living and learning environment. All of those things are about student transformation. And then I think one of the great programs that we have is the Intern to Learn program. I don't think there's another place in the country, I have not seen one anyhow, that has a program that is bringing in freshmen and teaching them how to work and mentoring them for 4 years so that when they get out they have a job based on the experiences that they're getting, progressively increased responsibility year over year over year, and using financial aid to make that happen. It is a great and unique program. Our third goal, distinctive engagement, emphasizes the importance, something that we all have done so well for so many years, of reaching out to our partners in the community, Texas, across the country, and across the world, and to do so that we bring the distinctive real-world experience that Tarleton provides to our communities. But the goal also recognizes that not only do we need to engage outside those rock gates and those rock walls, but we need to communicate very effectively internally as well. And when you start to think about people that have been communicating outside and doing a great job of engaging people, first person that comes to mind for me is Ted Ford. You know, Ted is responsible for hosting at Tarleton more students for competitive ag events than any place in the world. In a given year, he has over 12,000 students that come to this campus for those competitive ag events. That is outreach in a powerful way, and I think it's only appropriate that this past summer, the FFA in Texas honored him with a Lone Star degree, which is the equivalent of an honorary doctorate degree from FFA for Ted's great work in those competitive ag events. Rudy Tarpley tells me he thinks that Ted probably has taught more ag teachers than anybody in the country. That is a great, great record of achievement for Ted. So Ted, I think you're here, and I thank you for your great work. Thank you. Ted is the king of outreach with FFA. Kim Reinerson is the queen of outreach, and the Go Vans up here are because of her efforts, and we have 2 of those great trucks and trailers that are going to be moving around the state, talking to future students about the great things that are taking place here. It's an outreach effort both to the high schools and to community colleges. And people often talk about what's the front door of a university. Often it is through things like our athletic teams, and we've had great success in golf and baseball and basketball. But also at Tarleton, we have to talk about rodeo. We have the biggest, I think Mark had about 150 students out for rodeo earlier this week. And I think we have the biggest and, by most people's account, the best rodeo team in the country, year over year. This year we have the all-around cowboy and Billy Bob Brown. That is great outreach that we just have to continue to use in a powerful way. Our final goal is exemplary service. And it pretty much is what it says it is. To develop a culture of exemplary service across campus and provide the systems and infrastructure to support efficient and effective service. You all know what exemplary service is all about. You've been doing it. Off campus, we have a great history of things like TREAT, Tarleton Roundup, Barry Lambert down at the Foster's Home, or Bass Club participating down at the Foster's Home. On campus, we do great things like Rock the Gym with Kayla Peak and the campus move-in with hundreds and hundreds of volunteers helping our students move in. Service on campus, you've demonstrated that in a powerful way in just the last couple of weeks. The changeover for our phones, all those folks, Jamie Truesher and the folks that made that change without a hitch, people are so thankful for what you do and what you did to make, I think, 1,600 phones come and go without really nary a hitch. And so that kind of service is something that we all have come to expect. We need to learn how to do better. The construction going on over at Grant right now, you know, all of our servers are in that building. And there was a lot of concern about those things melting down. But James Wiley, Corey Shaw, Joseph Warner, Mark Garner, and our Kiewit partners, they kept those things running with things like thermometers from Walmart, webcams that they put on it, just innovative ways to make sure that those servers are going to continue to serve you day in and day out. So while we're doing so much in service, and you know what exemplary service is about, you've challenged yourself with this goal to do it even better, both outside and inside the university. So, as we wind down here, what I want you to know, as we move forward with the strategic plan, we have a great opportunity to change the lives of thousands and thousands of students, to change the lives of Texans by ensuring that they get a first-class Tarleton degree. Now, change is taking place everywhere in higher education. There are a lot of places, many institutions that are not experiencing enrollment growth. In fact, enrollment decreases, and they're seeing budget cuts. We're just the opposite. We're beginning here again from a position of strength. We have momentum, great momentum. We have tremendous energy at this university, and what we have going for us now is all of that great momentum, great staff, great faculty, so that we truly can become the premier student-focused university on the planet. But one thing, and I know you know this, we can't do. We can't just declare we're the best. That's not going to happen. We have to embrace those four goals: academic innovation, student transformation, distinctive engagement, exemplary service, and we have to bring them to life. When we do that, we'll earn the title of the best. That's what we want from our students. We want them to earn a Tarleton degree. We want our students to go out if they're able to fulfill their dreams, the dreams of their parents, their grandparents, because they can say that they truly earned that degree and they're well prepared to make a life well worth lived and a life of purpose with distinction. They will, I think, because of your efforts, make Tarleton very, very proud. I thank you for all your efforts to put this plan together. As we go forward, there will be additional details that come from it, and we will find ways to engage all of you to make these important goals happen. Chancellor, I want to say again, thank you so much for coming today. You've honored us by your presence, and you certainly have made the beginning of this new academic year one that will be memorable for all of us. Thank you so very much.